So if you go on a US-based app store and type in Douyin, even in Chinese characters, the first thing that comes up is Redbook. And that is partly because they're very similar apps.
Maybe as a foreigner, you found a video that you are interested in, you then post it and then ask, what is this guy saying? And definitely there's someone who's going to
Someone's
comment.
going to respond.
Yes. I think there is also some sentencing, also the philosophy of Chinese philosophy is 有朋自远方来.
I was about to say that.
Yes.
Hey yo, pack your bags and follow the tracks. Open your minds and try new things, man.
Hey there! Welcome to Hangzhou Youthcast.
We're here to bring you the coolest stories.
Listen to the ideas of international youth.
Coming to the realm of global youth cultural exchanges.
It's Hangzhou Youthcast.
It's Hangzhou Youthcast.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Hangzhou Youthcast. And this is Fan, I'm today's MC. And these two are our special guests today. And so in today's episode, we are going to talk about TikTok refugees, the TikTok refugees migration to the RedNote. Alright, let's rewind to just in January, the TikTok was about to shut down and a lot of American and also global TikTok users just flocked to the RedNote, which is called 小红书 in Chinese. This triggered a massive culture exchange between Chinese and American netizens, also the global netizens. It's also drawing users from other countries to sign up and use the RedNote, and then people surprisingly find that the content creation ecosystem on RedNote gradually became more international, and some really interesting internet cultures start to popping up, like the cat tags and also reading letters to Li Hua and so on. Yes. So today we are going to talk about this fun internet culture phenomenon. All right. So we've got two special guests today. How about introducing yourself to our audience?
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Noe. I am from the United States, currently living here in Hangzhou, China, as a PhD student at Zhejiang University. Prior to coming back to China, I was working in international education in the U.S. for about the past 10 years, and I lived in China from about 2009 to 2017. So I've been able to see a lot of evolution of Chinese social media and different platforms over the years of my time here.
Mm-hmm. Welcome you, and how about you, Eric?
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Tungamira Eric Mpona from Zimbabwe. I came to China in 2017. I've been here in Hangzhou for 7 years plus, right? And I'm currently studying international affairs and global governance. My PhD as well at Zhejiang University. And basically that's it.
Okay, welcome all of you. Can't wait to talk about to you guys. Let's get the ball rolling. So firstly, have you just downloaded the RedNote, and when is your first time to download the RedNote?
Well, I'll start with this one first because I'm a little different. I am what we generally say in English, millennial. So I was born in the 80s. I'm a bit older. And so my use of social media is maybe a lot different than Eric here, who is, I think, a Gen Z. I'm not giving too much away. I have traditionally used Facebook back when it was only for college students, and then Instagram. And so the equivalents in China, I've used WeChat, of course, QQ, and RenRen back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you were using it at that time.
I know it.
Yeah. So I actually have never used Little Red Book, 小红书. I also do not use TikTok. So I just wanted to get that out of the way at the beginning, providing a different perspective here. So I have not downloaded it before.
All right.
But you are an expert for the social media history in China.
I wouldn't say an expert, but I have seen some things. With age comes wisdom. So
yeah, okay. How about Eric?
Well, as you said, because I came in 2017, right? At that time, we already have these applications like the WeChat, the QQ. QQ was already fading out at that time.
Yeah.
I think most of the international students didn't even get to use it. But of course, I managed to use it because I was transferring some big documents and it was handy when doing that. So when it comes to the RedNote, I've used it actually before it became so popular in the US and other parts of the world. It was because I started using my cell phone is Xiaomi. So when you buy it, actually it comes with RedNote already installed in it. And actually, the moment I started using it, it was last year because I had a trip to Italy. So when I was preparing for that trip, I wanted to know some places that I can visit whilst in Italy and some recommended hotels, restaurants, and stuff. One of my Chinese friends told me that the information that you're looking for, you can get it on RedNote. So I went to search for it. It was very, very informative. That's how I started using RedNote. And of course, my account is still active, but I don't post stuff. I just go there to see what is happening.
You're just an audience.
I am.
Yes, but I think formally the RedNote is just mainly for the guidance for the travel and also for the restaurant and where to play in everywhere. I think I got some guidance for the Europe and also for the American and also for the China, that is much of the contents. But now I think it has changed because after the January they are more like the video stream on the RedNote. Have you just recognized that?
Yeah, I think that is true. There is a big change in terms of the content that you see on the RedNote now. I was actually looking at it even yesterday. I was just scrolling because most of the times, just to see what is happening, I use the local version of TikTok, that is Douyin, and I also use the RedNote. I realized that, now it's more like trendy videos. It's more like those fashion stuff, and this is kind of the content that you have on TikTok.
Yeah.
Almost the same. Now people post whatever they feel like posting. You can just be posting yourself having a tour somewhere. I mean, more like a small vlog within some few seconds or some few minutes. So anyway, the type of content that we are having on RedNote is no longer those recommendations that we used to have before, because you could use it as a platform for searching for specific information. Now it's more like an entertainment platform. So
Yes.
it's combined. You have business part of it and you have the entertainment part of it. So it became very handy, I think, even for the Americans who were looking for another option other than TikTok, because I think what I see there is it combines what you can find on Instagram, what you can find on Facebook, what you can find on Douyin, putting it together. So now when you open the RedNote, you will find it very, very handy.
Yeah.
And I'll say there's some similarities in U.S. social media as well. We're talking about kind of the evolution of RedNote, where it went from a lot of guides and pictures, maybe now to more videos and entertainment content. Platforms like Facebook and Instagram as well have gone through similar changes. And it's in large part due to the influence of an app like TikTok and changing tastes of generations. So as a millennial, when I first started using Instagram, it was almost all pictures.
Yes.
And we would, use filters on those pictures and kind of show your best life.
Everyone is very perfect.
Yes, everyone's very perfect. A lot of food pictures, travel, things like that. But we started to see in the United States that younger audiences maybe didn't enjoy that content as much, and they wanted something that was more authentic, more real. And when TikTok really started exploding in the US and all those really short videos, you saw that Facebook started using those. Instagram, of course, same parent company, Meta. YouTube now has short video segments. So everyone kind of following along the success of TikTok. So not just on RedNote, but on US platforms as well. The content style has changed a lot.
Yes, I think it's the audience favor has changed.
Yeah, sometimes I think the audience don't actually know what they need until it has been provided to them by someone else. What Kevin is saying, that TikTok came with this short video kind of a setup, and the other platforms saw it as something that is very trendy, and the younger generation, that's what they are looking for, and they had to offer it. There was a market for that, so I think it's a pretty much interesting change.
Yeah, I'm sure Vines out there is very upset they never got that. Vines was a very old, I don't know if either of you even know it, very old social media platform that was short videos, but it never caught on like TikTok did.
Why?
I'm not sure the exact reasons why. It might have just been timing when it was released. It was a very early platform.
Much earlier.
Much earlier, and it kind of went under a long time ago. I think part of TikTok's success, though, and of course RedNote and these other platforms now, is their very strong ability to recommend the right videos through a very
Yes.
powerful algorithm, right? So
Yes.
understanding what to show you and when. And as Eric was just saying, right, it's the audience doesn't know what they want until they see it. And now
yes.
that they've seen it, they know what they want,
Yeah.
right? And so now it's kind of this push and pull of the audience and the social media companies and what they're providing and receiving.
Yes, actually. But I think that before the RedNote is very a coincidence. I think it become popular suddenly because I think we all know that the WeChat and the TikTok is more popular and they also do the overseas marketing. But actually, the RedNote, the team didn't really do the overseas marketing. But how do you think that why it is RedNote that make them to attract more the TikTok refugees?
Oh, well, compared to Douyin and WeChat, I think it's actually very interesting because one of my friends was actually asking me the very same question, like, why did these guys go for RedNote instead of just going for Douyin? Because
Yeah.
Douyin, that's the local version of TikTok, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I started thinking about it, and I think the fact is, Douyin originally is designed for the Chinese audience. So the type of setup that is there, if you're going to scroll, and the type of videos that you find there, I think that's not really what the younger generation are looking for. And it happened that RedNote was positioned very well, striking a balance in terms of, having this kind of Instagram, Facebook kind of vibe, but with short videos inside. And the type of short videos that were in there were actually what the younger generation is looking for. Because, mind you, the people who are using RedNote more, I mean, from the Chinese side, are the young people. But if you go on Douyin, I usually see it some old
Okay.
guys rolling down. I mean, everybody is on Douyin.
Maybe that's your algorithm.
Yes.
And I mean, the users, the
Yes,
audiences, most of the audiences, I mean, there are a lot of old people there that like really just enjoy the content that is
Yeah.
there. You have a lot of fun videos on Douyin and stuff. So as for WeChat, I think it's more of for conversations.
Yes,
A messaging app. Of course, it has integrated a lot of stuff inside, which is a trend that is happening in many of the Chinese applications. You have the payment system inside. You have the short videos as well, the WeChat videos. But I think it was going to be a bit difficult for them to really cope up with the whole interface of the WeChat. It's more a bit complicated, and even the setup process of WeChat, I think it's a bit difficult. And for Douyin, I think you need a Chinese number. You need a Chinese phone number to
that's
set
the
up
point.
Douyin. So if you are in the US, how are you going to do that? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So the RedNote did not have all these barriers. The only barrier that was there was the language.
Yeah.
Was the language, and which they managed to
Yeah,
actually.
they figured it out.
to
They got the
figure it out, yeah.
translation function very quickly.
Yes, they had to do it. So I think RedNote was positioned very well. It just got the opportunity, although they did not do the marketing, but it became the perfect solution to the problem that these guys were facing. Yes.
And I would like to answer this question from more of a technical perspective. So obviously in the United States, we have seen kind of large-scale conversations around TikTok and the banning of TikTok, wanting the parent company to sell to a U.S. corporation. So initially, I believe it was January 19th that the ban on TikTok was going to take effect. And it was leading up to that actual ban date of January 19th of this year, 2025, that TikTok was removed very briefly from the app stores in the United States. So if you were a US phone user on either whatever phone provider you were using, you went into those app stores, you could not find TikTok. Even if you wanted to search for Douyin, it wouldn't show up on the US platform. So from the technical perspective, when they were looking for that alternative to TikTok, Redbook is what showed up. So Xiaohongshu was what individuals were able to find. So even if they wanted to find Douyin, it wasn't necessarily accessible to them. And so that was, of course, a reason I think why a lot of US individuals moved to RedNote. Of course, what Eric said around the kind of user interface and what it provides is certainly all true. We know now that there was a delay issued by the current U.S. administration, and I believe it's now April 5th where it will go into effect. So we'll see what happens. But TikTok is now available again, even though we still have so many refugees that have moved to Xiaohongshu.
Yes. May I ask, how have you just registered the RedNote, the account? You use email or something?
I mean, for me, I use my phone number, but I think for them, they use the emails.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's convenient. That's why I was saying that compared to Douyin, perhaps it was going to be very, very convenient for them. But I'm sure after that incident, perhaps Douyin did some changes there. But I think maybe it was already too late for them.
I mean, RedNote, really lucked out, right? Yeah. I mean, it was just kind of the perfect circumstance of different things happening at the right time and this mass migration of individuals coming to their platform. Yeah. And so it's really exciting. And I look forward to jumping into it more and talking about all the specifics, but very interesting clash of cultures.
Yes, and another thing I just find out is that because the RedNote, you know that it's more of the users of RedNote is young people, and especially have some international backgrounds young people. They are more like to use the RedNote. So when the TikTok refugees come to the RedNote and say something in English, they will find that most of the people can just write English and talk with them, the interaction. So they will feel more like this app because they will get some very good interaction with users in China so they can talk to each other. But maybe in other platforms, because of the age of the users, maybe they can, not most of them can speak English. I think that's also the point.
Yeah, I think that's a great perspective and very true.
It makes sense. It also resonates with what I was saying, that I think the age group of the users there, it actually mattered the most. And I also of the view that maybe there are some Chinese who are based in the US who recommended the applications to their fellows. And it happened that just a few guys downloaded the application and they recommended it to other guys as well. Because it can't be a coincidence that suddenly everybody was going for RedNote. And like Kevin has said, I actually saw it, the screenshots during that time when it was trending, that if you search for Douyin, if you search for TikTok on the App Store, it was showing Xiaohongshu, and it was it was very interesting. I actually still have the screenshot. You search Douyin, you just type Douyin in Chinese characters, then it will show you the RedNote. I mean, I don't know how did that happen.
It's still the same today. I was testing before I came to this. So it's if you go on a US-based app store and type in Douyin, even in Chinese characters, the first thing that comes up is Redbook. And that is partly because they're very similar apps. And so the app stores will give you recommendations based on...
to the similar apps.
Correct.
And most of the people search Douyin will download the RedNote.
Yes.
So they recommend to other people.
Yes.
But actually, it's really not the marketing of the RedNote team.
No. But going back to what Eric said, he made a really great point. That there might have been individuals who are already familiar with the platform in the United States who were promoting it as a great alternative. And of course, I don't know if we can trace it back to whoever, the initiators may have been. But I did see during that time so many posts on other social media platforms of people saying, come on, let's go. We're refugees. We're going to this new platform. Follow us. And so even if you weren't thinking, I'm going to go find some sort of new platform, you were seeing it on other social media sites. And I'm sure individuals were saying, oh, what is this? Let me go try this app. Let's go check this out. Yeah. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Yes. So as for the TikTok refugees, most of the TikTok refugees are youngsters, or how are they just create the name for them? How does it come out to the refugees, and how does it the emotional attitudes towards the refugee, and how do you think about the self-deprecating way that something like call themselves a refugee? I think that is very interesting.
I'll jump in on this one first. And first, your question around ages in terms of demographics. Again, not an expert on social media, but I think we can look at the demographics of the different sites and see that on TikTok, it's predominantly Gen Z and even Gen Alpha. So a much younger audience is using that platform. Broadly in the United States, I'd say self-deprecating humor is very, very common. And so this term TikTok refugee, if we think of what a refugee is, right, is someone who is forcibly moved from a certain location due to specific circumstances. And that's what's happening here. These individuals who are on TikTok, who were very happy there, maybe big influencers, or their business was connected with TikTok, they're now being told by the US government, we're shutting this down and you have to leave. And so I'm sure many of them thought of themselves as refugees. And so let's go to this new platform. We're going to do it together. And so it's partly in jest, partly truthful in that they're having to migrate potentially to a new platform. And I'd say for a lot of users, it was also purposeful. The US government is telling us don't use this platform because there are maybe inherent dangers tied to it.
Yeah.
And so what did these users say? Well, you know what? We're going to move to another Chinese platform, one that is not separate, right? Because Douyin and TikTok are kind of two separate entities, whereas Xiaohongshu is uniquely positioned here in China. And so I think a lot of those refugees said, yeah, we're going this way on purpose. And that, I would say, is also very American.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Kevin there. There is a bit of humor that is within it, and also it's a bit of giving the signal to the U.S. government as well that you see, although we can no longer do it on TikTok, but fine, we are going to do it on another Chinese application.
Yes.
And as you were saying, that RedNote was the perfect choice for them. So definitely, I think that's what happened there.
I think just they didn't want to obey the regulations of the government that they don't agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of actually trying to communicate to the government that, I mean, the choice that you are making, it's actually against what we are looking for. I mean, us as the younger generation, this is the platform that we want, and we have our businesses that are there. We are having fun on the platform. So what we are saying is that revise your decision. If you don't revise it, fine, we are going to do it, our stuff through the other platform. And interestingly, later on, RedNote brought in a function that you can actually take all your videos that you had on TikTok to the RedNote.
Oh, that's right. I did not know that. That's
you could download your data from TikTok, and then you go on the RedNote. There was a function there. Then you upload all your data into
was
that.
very smart.
Really?
And all your videos,
All the videos.
appear on the RedNote.
Oh, really? That's so
it
convenient.
It came at the right time, very convenient. So, well, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Tune into Hangzhou.
Discover the world.
Hangzhou Youthcast.
You know, speaking broadly about Americans, I think they tend to, you know, when they disagree with something, voice those opinions. And so, you know, as the government is saying, don't use this platform, and here are the reasons why, they're migrating to another platform that's very, very similar. And again, it's a question of, you know, which social media platform isn't collecting data? Why are we signaling out this one specifically when large companies like Alphabet, like Meta, are potentially doing the same things? And a question now in the United States is, okay, we have this April 5th deadline now for TikTok again. You know, let's say that goes through and TikTok is eventually banned in the US. Are they going to do it now with Redbook? Are they going to have to go after Redbook now? Then if those, netizens then travel again to, I think another popular option was Lemon8. You know, are they going to ban that one? Because it's also Chinese owned, right? You're creating this kind of, you know, waterfall effect of, are you going to go after each, you know, social media company that's owned by a foreign entity? So very interesting to see how this is going to play out in the future.
And interestingly, the other interesting point here is that I think it also feeds to the reason why they went for the RedNote.
Yes.
Because RedNote wasn't established in the US as an entity. So that means that it couldn't be sued, right? So, and the data wasn't even stored in the US. The data is stored here in China. So that actually on itself is quite interesting. So they were just looking for an alternative that you can't do anything to it. It's not established there. So, well, I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yep.
But I just heard the news that some of the continents in America tried to ban the red note in their continent.
You mean in the States? In the
Yeah,
U.S.?
States.
I
Yeah.
have not yet. I mean, that might be true. Since moving back to China, I've tried to stay away from U.S. news. A lot of it for me has
Okay.
been very depressing. I have not seen that specifically, but it's certainly possible. The United States, obviously, each state has the ability to enact its own laws. And we have seen some very specific or targeted laws against certain Chinese entities. Again, I said my background was with Confucius Institutes. And we saw that previously with certain states under certain political persuasions, initially banning Confucius Institutes until it became pretty much nationwide. We're also seeing that now, again, background in higher education administration, with certain states preventing government employees from traveling to China. And so for anyone who works in higher education in those specific states, it's now become more difficult to travel here to pursue kind of joint ventures and academic agreements and things like that. So again, a little off topic, but it's certainly plausible that states would pursue those actions.
Yeah, but I think that we are just starting in the RedNote. Most of the former users are really welcome the TikTok refugees. And how do you think about maybe Kevin didn't use that app so much? But how about Eric? How do you think about the users' atmosphere on the RedNote?
Well, I think that's actually also one thing that actually made this application very, very popular, because the first users, from TikTok, those first refugees from TikTok found it very, very friendly. I mean, the
Yes.
platform was very welcoming. The users there, they were very willing to talk to you, and some of them got a lot of followers within just a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And even I was following some foreigners who are based here in China, and they have had the Red Note for a very long period of time, struggling to get followers. They were even frustrated. They're like, "Oh, why? I've been in China for so many years. I've been posting very good content on the Red Note. Why all of a sudden, someone who is just coming from the US and says, okay, I'm paying K-Tex here, I get a lot of followers right away. I mean, it's not fair." So anyway, that shows how welcoming the platform was to the refugees. I think they found it very, very, very welcoming. Yeah.
Wasn't it the Spring Festival Gala this year? An American was featured in the audience. Wasn't he a Red Book or Red Note influencer? Wasn't that why he was brought in? I'm pretty sure that was the reason, right?
All right, that guy?
Right, I think it was. And he was someone who was part of this refugee population. And I might be wrong, but if I'm remembering correctly, he was someone who was not as familiar with Chinese language and culture, who kind of migrated to the social media platform and became very, very popular. Kind of what you were just speaking about, someone who's brand new, who, and then suddenly, became an internet celebrity and was invited to kind of join in the gala this year. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But it's all very positive, right? Because it's bringing more attention to China and more cross-cultural communication, which is so important.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Do you have some difficulties on when you're using the Red Note? Do you have maybe something that maybe you don't understand in the former?
Oh, well, I mean, for me, I when I use RedNote, I use the Chinese version. So I don't have any challenges, because I can use Chinese applications without any challenge. I can use Weibo, I can use Douyin, I can use the RedNote. I mean, the Chinese versions, because I can understand the language. But for them, those who were coming from TikTok and originally can't speak the language. I mean, in the first days, I saw some of them even now learning Chinese on Duolingo.
Yeah.
They were posting videos trying to learn. I mean, starting from Ni hao, and I'm
Oh,
like,
yes.
okay, that's interesting. So now they are learning the language so that they can interact with their followers on RedNote. And meanwhile, RedNote was making some adjustments to their platform.
Correct.
Although the interface was already bilingual, like you can change from Chinese to English. But then the content itself, because most of the Chinese users would just post their content in Chinese. Of course, we had a certain percentage that could post right away in English. As you were saying, that most of them have a background of studying abroad and they could understand the language very well. But here's what happened with the application, that they ended up putting a function that is auto translation.
Yes.
So if you turn that on, when you open the RedNote, it will automatically translate your content. So that actually is very handy. And if you go and check online, they will be sharing amongst themselves how to translate your stuff on RedNote. I found it very interesting how these TikTok refugees got this kind of a spirit of unity, whereby they will be, okay, guys, come, like you were saying, okay, come, get over here. Here's the platform that you are looking for, and whilst you're there, how to navigate, they'll be teaching each other.
Yes.
It's been wonderful to see, just watching it in the news or on other social media platforms. It's so fun to see the interactions between individuals that are happening, and just how the local community on Redbook or RedNote has been so welcoming, right, to this community, and so helpful as they're trying to navigate and understand how to do things. Just individuals reaching out. And I'll say that is very different maybe than internet communities in the United States, which tend to be, we use the word toxic, a bit more toxic, perhaps provocative or negative. Whereas here, we've seen just these refugees welcomed with open arms. And it's just been really fun to watch them interact in really unique ways.
Yes, and actually, the translation function, what's the most good point is that they can translate some slangs in Chinese. Yes, it can just translate in the cultural way, intercultural way, to let the audience from the other countries to understand. Yes.
But interestingly, before the auto translation option, I mean, there was another way of translating the content on Xiaohongshu. Do you know how to do it? You would just, maybe as a foreigner, you found a video that you are interested in. You then post it and then ask, what is this guy saying? And definitely there's someone who's going to comment.
Someone's going to respond.
Yes, actually.
The Chinese netizens will come in the comment section and then they will tell you the whole thing about it. So it was very interesting. And sometimes someone who is talking to their followers, right? And then maybe they find something that they are failing to translate, because sometimes translations will do some very ridiculous stuff. So they will post the conversation on the RedNote that, what is this guy trying to say? I mean, I'm failing to understand. And everybody will come in the comment section. Oh, it's like this, it's like that. So anyway, that's how interactive the whole platform was. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, actually, I don't know why the Chinese people can exactly find the questions. They don't let every questions be not answered. They will answer all the questions. I think that is very interesting. All the questions were being
answered. And I was actually even wondering, I mean, how did this whole thing happen? I mean, every TikTok refugee which is coming on the platform, get right away, you get your followers, you get people looking to you. I mean, very interactive.
Well, I mean, to answer this from someone who doesn't use a lot of these social media platforms, one, I mean, that's just so positive. That's how one should engage with a refugee, right? I know that the use of refugee here is very, very different, and we don't want to undermine real refugees in the world. But I mean, that positive, welcoming energy is so great. And I think culturally here in China, that's something that you see outside of just social media, right? I mean, having lived here for almost 10 years now, I mean, it's very, very common to meet someone for the first time, and they might say, you know, like you had just mentioned, you were from Hangzhou originally, right?
Yeah.
If I'm just here in Hangzhou, you might say, oh, well, welcome to Hangzhou. I'm happy to be your guide.
Yes,
right?
actually.
Yes. And so in America, someone might say that as a courtesy, right? I'm just being nice. I'm being friendly. I don't expect you to ask me to be your guide. But I know here that if I say, yeah, that would be great, you or anyone would take me around and truly mean that they would be your guide.
Yes.
And so I think when they're seeing these questions on social media in the comment boxes, they're, okay, let me help, let me be friendly. Let me welcome you to this platform and share my knowledge and wisdom with you.
This is something that is actually deeply hinged in the Chinese culture and traditions. It is very interesting,
Yeah.
I think there is also some sentencing, also the philosophy of Chinese philosophy is 有朋自远方来。
I was about to say that.
Yes, I think that just mean that we Chinese people are also are very welcome the people from all the countries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very open and very welcoming. And you can see that in person and online. So it's wonderful.
Yes, and I just think about the phenomenon you say that the foreigners like you guys, you live in China for a very very long time, and also some of the foreigners are doing the influencers account on the RedNote, but they are very upset because maybe they just editing the videos for several years and gain maybe 10,000 of followers, but the TikTok refugees maybe come here to say hi and they got 10,000 of the followers. But I think I just see the videos, and also the Chinese users will comfort them. Well, they will talk to them because there is a word in Chinese is I think it's the nickname for foreigners. It's like 老外.
Yes.
But they will call them 老内.
And
Yeah. So well, I think here is what happened. From my own view, I feel like because the local netizens, of course, are looking for some content from outside of China, right? But I mean, those who are already in China, what are they posting on RedNote? They were posting content from China, which is actually supposed to be something maybe you go on and share on your Instagram because you're trying to communicate with your fellow friends or your fellow countrymates that this is what I'm seeing in China. So originally, that is not the content that the local netizens are looking for because they already know it. Can I post on my RedNote that, look how beautiful Shihu is? They're like, no, we know Shihu. We are always there every day.
Yes.
But if someone, a TikTok refugee, posts, okay, look at Los Angeles. I mean, everybody is going to look at it. Oh, that's how it looked like. I've never been there before.
Yeah.
So, of course, that kind of information, that kind of content is appealing to them. So I think this is what happened. And that's actually why.
They are more popular.
They got more popular, yeah.
that makes perfect sense. And plus, it's just so random, right? We know with the internet and internet celebrities, who becomes famous, who doesn't. I mean, it's a strike of lightning. And you hope you get lucky, if that's your chosen career path. And so, congrats to everyone who has hundreds of thousands of followers. Yeah. And to all those local people who have been running those accounts for years.
We are so sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
maybe after watching this podcast, you'll get a few more follows. So, our fellow Laone's, right?
Yes. And actually, there is also something that they were doing that actually I was laughing at it and saying, this is interesting. They were trying to set the rules. Said, okay, welcome to the RedNote. I mean, I've been a user here for a couple of years, so I'm gonna tell you the rules. You don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. You guys are setting the rules on the platform because we say, no, we are foreigners who have been on this platform for so long, so we don't want you to come and mess it up. So, so it was very interesting, the whole engagement. Yeah.
And that's so important because I think for, again, just speaking from an American perspective, I think a lot of users wouldn't be familiar with what some of the rules are. But at least, again, from watching on the news or other platforms, just the response from a lot of the refugees on RedNote has been overwhelmingly positive, that they're willing to adapt to this ecosystem and understanding what the regulations are and saying, I'll follow those on this platform and I'll learn to integrate and assimilate to RedNote. So it's just been really positive overall.
Yeah. And by the way, I saw if someone just posted something that other TikTok refugees would feel like this might not go well with the Chinese users, they will actually come in the comment section like, no, we don't do that here. You're going to take down that content. I mean, we don't do that here. So, I think really it was a perfect way of showing that, really, what separates us are just like the distance, but really we can have perfect intercultural communications and this was the perfect case study that
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, there's very one unique regulations on the red notice about the cat tax.
Oh yes. Here,
I
here.
don't know where it come out.
Before we get going, there you go. I'm paying my
this
cat
is your
tax.
dog
Yes,
tax,
my
dog
dog tax. We'll show
So-
that to
so
the
we
people
can
out there.
continue the
Yes,
show.
the
so
conversation.
we can continue the conversation.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
paid,
yeah.
but
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh,
I
you
don't
don't have the
I don't
tax.
have. I don't have the
Well, I
tax.
had 2 dogs in my photo, so that's one for each
Okay,
of us.
we can share. We
We
can
can
share.
share, yes. But actually, it's very interesting. I don't know why. I even don't know where it come out. Who's the first person that say that you need the cat tax to be here?
I don't know where it came from. And again, obviously, because I'm not on the platform, but I'm here for it because when I go on social media, I want to see pictures and videos of cute dogs and cats. That's what
Yes.
brings me joy. And so, yes, I say keep paying that cat tax.
Yes.
I think it's very interesting. I think here, maybe I'm just because I don't know how it started, but I feel like because they realize that, the Generation Z, they have common language. When I say common language, is that they realize, oh, the Chinese young people love to post their pets. Like they're posting very cute cats. I saw someone posting that, RedNote is on fire. They're posting very cute stuff over there. We're going to go there. So they felt like, oh, this is what they want. If I post a cat, if I post my pet, then that means that they are going to be
Yes,
liking
you have
my
followers.
yeah, I have followers. So that's more like, okay, that's the way to get more followers, to get more people continuously looking for your content and following you. So they're like, okay, that's a tax on its own. So if I post something that has to do with my pet, then I'm paying the pet tax.
Yes,
I think
yes.
that's how it started.
Yes,
And it's just so funny that it caught on, right? And now
Yes.
it's people are demanding, oh, you have to pay the tax first.
Yeah.
So it's really cute.
It actually is not only the cat tax and also the dog tax. I even say some snake tax and lizard tax, and even some Chinese people will do some tricky that they post a panda.
Oh, sure.
They say, oh, this panda is my pet.
Hey, we don't discriminate against pets. There's all kinds of cute critters out there. So yeah, whatever tickles your fancy.
Yes, and also it's just to trigger some discussions because I just see some videos. They said why Chinese cats are all fat. Yes, they said our American cats are thin, but why your cats are all very like a ball.
I don't know. I've seen some pretty fat cats in the United States. So, yeah.
Yeah.